The dust on 442 be tasted like rust and old secrets. Dr. Lisa Morgan wiped her face with the back of her glove and stared down into the hole her team had been digging for 3 weeks. The planet had been a human colony for 200 years, but nobody knew about the ruins buried beneath the red soil until a mining survey found strange metal readings. Lisa climbed down the ladder into the excavation pit. Her boots hit solid floor, and she switched on her. The beam cut through the darkness and revealed smooth walls covered in symbols. She had spent her entire career studying dead languages and forgotten civilizations. This was different from anything she had seen before. "Dr. Morgan, you should see this." Greg Harrison stood at the far end of the chamber. He was young, barely 30, and still excited about every discovery. Lisa liked that about him, even when his theories made no sense. She walked over to where Greg pointed his light at a massive doorway. The entrance was sealed with a metal barrier that gleamed despite thousands of years underground. Most ancient ruins showed rust and decay. This looked like it was built yesterday. "The metal is not corroding," Greg said. "The composition is unknown. I took 3 samples and the analyzer cannot identify the alloy." Lisa ran her hand across the surface. It felt warm under her fingers, which was impossible. Everything this deep underground should be cold. She pulled out her portable scanner and aimed it at the symbols carved around the doorway. "These markings are not," she said quietly. "They have to be," Greg replied. "Ambassador Kelvin said all ruins on this planet belong to them. The Galactic Council confirmed it." Lisa shook her head. She had studied writing for years. Their language used circular patterns and flowing curves. These symbols were angular and sharp, arranged in neat rows that reminded her of something else. Something from Earth's ancient past, before humans joined the galactic community. Heavy footsteps echoed through the chamber. Captain Danny Pierce appeared at the top of the ladder, his military uniform covered in red dust. He was supposed to be protecting the dig site from claim jumpers and wild animals, but he spent most of his time watching Lisa work. "Ambassador Kelvin wants a progress report," Danny called down. "He says the council is getting impatient." "Tell him we found a door," Lisa shouted back. "And tell him to bring better equipment. We need something that can cut through this metal." Danny climbed down the ladder and walked over to examine the door. He was tall and broad, the kind of man who looked like he was born wearing a uniform, but his eyes were sharp and curious. Lisa appreciated that he asked good questions instead of just following orders. "What do you think is behind it?" Danny asked. "I do not know," Lisa admitted. "But these symbols are telling a story. Look at this pattern here. It repeats every 7 marks. That is a military cadence. Whoever built this was organized like an army." "They had armies," Greg pointed out. "They conquered half the galaxy before they went extinct." "Yes, but they did not write like this." Lisa traced one of the symbols with her finger. "This is too precise, too mathematical. They wrote with emotion and art. This is pure function." She stepped back and looked at the entire door. The more she studied it, the more familiar it seemed. The arrangement reminded her of old Earth languages that died out thousands of years ago. Languages from before the Great Collapse, before humanity rebuilt and joined the stars. "I need my reference files," she said. "All of them, especially the pre-diaspora archives." Greg gave her a strange look. "Those languages have been dead for 3,000 years. Why would aliens use them?" "Just get the files," Lisa snapped. She knew she sounded crazy. The official history was clear. Humans developed space travel 800 years ago. They were discovered by the Galactic Council and welcomed as new members. Before that, Earth was isolated and primitive. Everyone knew that story. Everyone believed it. But Lisa had spent years studying fragments and inconsistencies in the historical records. Small gaps that did not make sense. References to technologies that should not have existed. Her colleagues called her paranoid. The university almost fired her twice for questioning official history. Now, standing in front of this door, she wondered if her paranoia was actually correct. Greg returned 30 minutes later with a data tablet loaded with every ancient language database Lisa owned. She scrolled through files, comparing symbols on the door to extinct Earth languages: Greek, Latin, Sanskrit, Sumerian, Egyptian. They're a match. Her hand started shaking. 3 symbols on the door were identical to ancient Sumerian words. 2 more matched Old Norse. And running along the top was a phrase in Proto-Indo-European, the theoretical ancestor of most European languages. "This is impossible," she whispered. "What did you find?" Danny asked. "These are Earth languages, Old Earth, from thousands of years before we supposedly had space travel." Greg laughed. "That is impossible. Humans were not even out of the solar system back then." "Then explain this," Lisa said, pointing at the symbols. "Explain how a door on an alien planet has writing in languages that died on Earth 3,000 years ago." No one had an answer. Lisa pressed her palm against the door. The metal grew warmer. A low hum filled the chamber, so deep she felt it in her chest. The symbols began to glow with pale blue light. "Everyone step back," Danny ordered, his hand moving to his weapon. But Lisa could not move. The light was spreading, flowing through channels carved into the metal. The pattern looked like circuit boards, but older, more elegant. The door was not just a door, it was a machine. Words appeared on the surface, written in glowing text that shifted between 3 different ancient languages. Lisa read them out loud without thinking, her years of study making the translation automatic. "Identify command authority, provide clearance code, state military designation." "What does that mean?" Greg asked. "It means this was built by soldiers," Lisa said, "and it wants to know who we are." She touched the glowing text. The door responded immediately. More words appeared, written in a language so old that Lisa barely recognized it, but her mind worked through the grammar and structure, piecing together the meaning. Guardian Core installation. Status, standby mode. Duration, 4,732 years, awaiting activation command. The door split down the middle. Ancient mechanisms groaned and shifted. Dust fell from the ceiling as the 2 halves swung inward, revealing a massive chamber beyond. Lisa stepped through the doorway. Her illuminated something tall standing in the center of the room. At first she thought it was a statue. Then she saw the joints, the weapon systems built into the arms, the sensors embedded in the head. It was a war machine, 15 feet tall, covered in armor plates inscribed with the same ancient symbols, built for combat by someone who understood warfare at a level far beyond anything the Galactic Council possessed. And carved across its chest, in letters that glowed faint gold, was a single word in ancient Sumerian: Guardian. Lisa touched the machine's leg. Energy pulsed up through the metal. Systems activated that had slept for. The machine's eyes opened, burning with blue light that cut through the darkness. She stumbled backward. Danny grabbed her arm, pulling her away. But the machine did not move. It just stood there, head tilted down, looking at them with eyes that held ancient intelligence. "Lisa," Danny said quietly, "I think you should step away from it." But Lisa could not move. She stared up at the war machine and felt something shift inside her mind. Words formed on her lips in a language she should not know, a language dead for thousands of years. The machine's head lifted. It moved with smooth precision, servos humming to life. Then it did something that made Greg gasp and Danny reach for his weapon. The war machine straightened to attention. Its right arm came up in a crisp military salute. When it spoke, the voice was deep and ancient, speaking the same dead language Lisa had used. "Command accepted, General." Silence in the chamber was broken only by the hum of the war machine's power systems. Lisa stared up at the towering figure, her mind struggling to understand what had just happened. She had spoken in a dead language and the machine had responded. It had called her general. "Did that thing just salute you?" Greg asked. His voice was too high, almost panicked. "I think it did," Lisa said. Danny kept his weapon pointed at the machine, but his tactical training was clear in his movements. He circled slowly, keeping himself between the machine and Lisa. "Dr. Morgan, what did you say to it?" "I do not know," Lisa admitted. "The words just came out. It was like something inside me remembered how to speak." The machine lowered its arm and stood waiting. Its blue eyes tracked Lisa's movements but showed no aggression. After 4,000 years of sleep, it seemed content to watch and listen. Lisa pulled out her data tablet and started recording everything. The symbols on the machine's armor, the design of its weapons, the way ancient technology hummed with power that should have failed centuries ago. Nothing made sense according to everything she knew about history. "We need to report this immediately," Greg said. "Ambassador Kelvin needs to know what we found." "No," Lisa said sharply. "Not yet. I need time to study this." "Are you insane? We just activated an ancient war machine. A war machine that thinks you are its commanding officer. The Galactic Council will want to know about this." Lisa turned to face Greg. "Think about what this means. This machine was built by humans. Ancient humans who had technology that equals or exceeds anything the Galactic Council possesses now. But according to official history, that is impossible. Humans were primitive 4,000 years ago." "Then the history is wrong," Greg said. "Or someone changed it," Danny added quietly. They all looked at him. The captain was still watching the machine, but his expression had grown thoughtful. "I have been in the military for 15 years. I have seen classified documents that made no sense, references to old bases that should not exist, weapon designs that are supposedly new but look ancient. My grandfather used to tell stories about the old wars, but when I asked for details, he would stop talking, said some things were better forgotten." "That is just military rumors," Greg protested. "Maybe," Danny said. "Or maybe there is more truth in rumors than we want to believe." Lisa approached the machine again. This time she moved slowly, showing no fear. The war machine watched her but did not react. She touched its armored leg and felt warmth flowing through the metal. "Can you understand me?" she asked in English. The machine did not respond. She tried again in the ancient language, speaking the words carefully. "Can you understand me?" The machine's eyes brightened. "Affirmative, General, all systems operational, awaiting orders." Lisa's heart raced. She was actually communicating with a piece of human history that should not exist. "What is your designation?" "Sentinel Unit 7, Guardian Corps, 1st Fleet 3rd Battalion, Defensive Operations Command." "Guardian Corps," Lisa repeated. "What was your mission?" The machine paused as if accessing old memories. "Primary mission, defend humanity and its allies from hostile forces. Secondary mission, maintain readiness during extended peace. Final mission, enter standby mode and await reactivation if needed." "How long have you been in standby mode?" 4,732 years, 6 months, 14 days. Greg made a sound that was half laugh, half gasp. "This is impossible. Nothing can function that long without maintenance." "Guardian technology was designed for extended deployment," the machine said, responding to Greg even though he had spoken in English. "We were built to last." "We?" Lisa asked. "There are more of you." "Affirmative. Guardian Corps consists of 473,000 combat units, 12,000 command units, 8,000 support vessels, all deployed across strategic locations throughout this sector." The number hit Lisa like a punch. Almost 500,000 war machines, all hidden away and waiting. If they were all as powerful as this one, they represented a military force larger than anything the Galactic Council could field. "Why did you enter standby mode?" Lisa asked. "Orders from High Command. The war was over. Humanity chose peace. Guardian Core was to be forgotten but not destroyed. We would wait in case the galaxy ever needed defenders again. "What war?" Danny demanded. "What are you talking about?" The machine turned its head to look at Danny. The war, 347 years of conflict. Humanity was threatened with extinction or slavery. We chose to fight. We won. Lisa felt dizzy. The Empire was supposed to have gone extinct on its own, their civilization collapsing from internal conflict. But if this machine was telling the truth, humans had defeated them. Ancient humans with technology and military power that the modern galaxy knew nothing about. "Show me," Lisa said. "Show me what happened." The machine raised one arm. A holographic projector activated, filling the chamber with images of space battles and planetary conflicts. Lisa watched as human warships fought against fleets. The humans were outnumbered but used tactics that were brilliant and ruthless. They struck fast and disappeared. They turned strength against itself. They protected civilians while destroying military targets with surgical precision. The war was brutal. Millions died on both sides, but slowly, steadily, humanity pushed back. When the final battle came, humans offered terms: surrender and join the galactic community as equals or face total destruction. They chose surrender. After the war, humanity had a choice, the machine continued. They could claim the Empire and become the new conquerors, or they could dismantle their own military and start over. They chose peace. "Why?" Greg asked. Because they had seen what war cost. They did not want their children to grow up as soldiers. They wanted a galaxy where different species cooperated instead of fighting, so they erased their own history. They sealed away their weapons. They joined the galactic community as new members, pretending they had just discovered space travel. "That is a lie," Greg said. "You are telling us that our entire history is a lie." "Not a lie," the machine corrected. "A choice. Humanity chose to forget what they were capable of so they could become something better." Heavy footsteps echoed from the entrance. Ambassador Kelvin Reed appeared at the doorway with 6 armed guards. He was a thin man with hair and cold eyes. When he saw the activated war machine, his face went pale. "Step away from that device immediately," Kelvin ordered. Lisa did not move. "You knew. The Council knew about this all along." Kelvin's silence was answer enough. "How long?" Lisa demanded. "How long has the Galactic Council known the truth about humanity's past?" "Since the beginning," Kelvin admitted. "When humans petitioned to join the Council 800 years ago, we investigated their history. We found references to older civilizations, evidence of technologies that should not exist. We made a choice to maintain the deception." "Why?" Danny asked. "Because a peaceful humanity serves the galaxy better than a warrior humanity," Kelvin said. "You are explorers now, scientists, diplomats. If you remembered what you were, if you knew what you were capable of, it would change everything. The galaxy does not need more warriors." "Even if that means lying to us about who we are?" Lisa asked. "Especially then," Kelvin replied. "Now shut down that machine and step away. This discovery will be classified at the highest level. None of you will speak of this again." The machine moved for the first time without being asked. It stepped forward, placing itself between Lisa and the guards. The movement was smooth and fast, showing combat readiness that made the guards raise their weapons nervously. "Negative," the machine said. "Guardian Core does not acknowledge Council authority. We answer only to humanity." Kelvin's expression hardened. "That machine is a threat to galactic peace. It will be destroyed." "Try it," Danny said quietly. He had moved to stand beside Lisa, his weapon now pointed at the guards instead of the machine. "But you should know that I am recording everything. This conversation. Your admission that the Council lied to humanity for 8 centuries. If anything happens to us, that recording goes public." Kelvin looked between them, calculating odds. Finally, he lowered his hand, and the guards lowered their weapons. "This is not over," he said. "The Council will not allow ancient weapons to threaten current stability." "Then the Council has a problem," Lisa said, "because I just activated a Guardian unit, and I think it is time humanity learned the truth about who they really are." Kelvin stared at her with something close to fear. "You do not understand what you are doing. There are reasons we kept this secret, reasons beyond your understanding." "Then explain," Lisa demanded. Kelvin hesitated, then spoke quietly. "They are not extinct. We have been tracking their movements in dark space for decades. They are rebuilding, planning, and 3 days ago they attacked a frontier colony, killed everyone." The chamber fell silent. "You're telling me they are back?" Danny asked. "Yes, and if they learn that humanity's guardians still exist, they will come for Earth first. They remember who defeated them. They will want revenge." The machine spoke again, its voice calm and certain. "Then it is fortunate that we are still here. The learned once what happens when they threaten humanity. If necessary, we will teach them again." Lisa looked up at the towering war machine, then at Kelvin's frightened face. She understood now why the Council wanted this kept secret. They were afraid, not of what humanity might become if they remembered their warrior past. But watching the news feeds showing burning colonies and dead civilians, Lisa realized that some threats required more than diplomacy. Sometimes, the galaxy needed defenders who remembered how to fight. She turned back to the machine. "Sentinel Unit 7, can you contact other Guardian units?" "Affirmative, General, awaiting your command." Lisa took a deep breath. She was an archaeologist, a scientist. She had spent her life studying the past, not trying to resurrect it. But standing in this ancient chamber with a war machine calling her general, she understood that some parts of the past were not meant to stay buried. "Send a signal," she said in the ancient language. "Wake them up." The signal went out at the speed of light, bouncing through relay stations that had waited in silence for thousands of years. Sentinel Unit 7 stood motionless as data streamed through its systems, connecting with other Guardian units across dozens of worlds. Lisa watched the machine's eyes flicker as it processed responses. Each flash of light represented another unit coming online. Another piece of humanity's forgotten past waking from its long sleep. "How many have responded?" she asked in the ancient language. 47,000 units confirmed active, 212,000 still in revival sequence. Expected full operational status in 72 hours. Ambassador Kelvin's face had gone from pale to, "Do you understand what you have done? You have unleashed an army that nobody controls, an army that could tear apart everything we have built." "We control them," Lisa said. "They answer to humanity." "You are not humanity," Kelvin snapped. "You are one person making decisions that will affect billions. You have no authority to do this." Danny stepped forward. "She has more authority than you do. You lied to us for 800 years. You hid our history because it was convenient. Now they are back and you need help. Maybe you should have thought about that before you decided what humans were allowed to know about themselves." Kelvin looked like he wanted to argue, but his communicator chirped. He answered it, listened for a moment, then his face went even paler. "The Council wants you in custody immediately, all of you. This site is being locked down." "They can try," Sentinel Unit 7 said. The machine's tone was polite, but there was steel underneath the words. "Guardian Corps has defensive protocols for this situation. No external force will be allowed to interfere with activation procedures." As if to prove the point, deep rumbling sounds echoed through the ground. Lisa felt vibrations in her feet. Dust fell from the ceiling as something massive moved beneath them. "What is that?" Greg asked nervously. "Defensive installations coming online," the machine explained. "This facility includes automated weapon systems, shield generators, and point defense networks. Standard Guardian base configuration. Through the entrance to the chamber, Lisa saw armed soldiers running toward the dig site. She recognized the uniforms of Galactic Council security forces. They were setting up positions around the perimeter, but they looked uncertain. Nobody had trained them to assault an ancient military base that was designed to withstand serious combat. They will not attack, Sentinel Unit 7 observed. Their tactical assessment recognizes the disadvantage. This position is now secure. Kelvin looked defeated. He sat down on a piece of rubble and put his head in his hands. You do not understand. The Council is not your enemy. We have been trying to protect everyone, including humanity. They were not the only threat in the old days. There were others, species that made the look peaceful. They are gone now, or sleeping, or hiding. But if word spreads that human warriors are active again, it could wake things that should stay sleeping. Lisa felt a chill. What things? Things the old records barely mention. The Devourers, the Architects, species so old and powerful that even the Guardians might not be able to stop them. Sentinel Unit 7's head tilted slightly, a gesture that looked almost human. Records confirmed. Threat assessment from original Guardian Command recognized multiple extinction-level species in this region of space. Guardian Corps was designed to defend against known threats, but our creators acknowledged that unknown threats existed beyond their understanding. So what are you saying? Danny asked Kelvin. That we should just let the kill people because we are afraid of something worse? I am saying there are consequences to every choice, Kelvin replied. Your ancestors understood that. They fought thee and won, but they also recognized what victory cost them. They had become something dangerous, something the galaxy feared, so they chose to step back. Lisa thought about that. She imagined what it must have been like for those ancient humans. Warriors who had spent 3 centuries fighting, who had built weapons capable of destroying entire civilizations, suddenly having to decide what kind of species they wanted to be. They made their choice for their time, Lisa said. But this is our time, and right now people are dying. If we have the ability to help and we do nothing, what does that make us? Human, Sentinel Unit 7 said quietly. That is the question your ancestors struggled with. What does it mean to be human? Is it the capacity for violence or the choice not to use it? They decided it was both. Strength without wisdom is just cruelty, but wisdom without strength cannot protect those who need protection. The machine paused, then continued. They built us not as weapons of conquest, but as weapons of last resort. They programmed us with rules. We defend, but we do not attack without cause. We protect civilians, even enemy civilians. We offer mercy to those who surrender. We fight only when all other options are exhausted. That is what makes us Guardian Corps, not just another army. Lisa looked at the massive war machine with new understanding. It was not just a weapon. It was a philosophy made real, a reminder of what humanity had learned through terrible experience. Show me the attacks, she said. Show me what they have done. The machine projected new images, 3 colonies burning, bodies in the streets, children crying over dead parents. They had not changed their tactics. They still believed terror was the path to victory. Greg turned away from the images, his face green. Even Kelvin looked sick. They hit fast and without warning, Sentinel Unit 7 explained. Classic strategy, overwhelming force against soft targets to create fear. They expect the Galactic Council to negotiate, to offer concessions in exchange for peace. The Council is already debating terms, Kelvin admitted quietly. Some members want to give what they want, territory, resources, anything to make them stop. That will not work, the machine said. They interpret compromise as weakness. Every concession will lead to more demands. This is not a negotiation. This is the opening move in a new war. Danny was studying the tactical data. His military training showed in how quickly he understood the patterns. They are testing responses. These 3 colonies were chosen to gauge Council military reaction. When they see how weak the response is, they will escalate. Exactly, Sentinel Unit 7 confirmed. Guardian tactical analysis gives them 4 weeks before they attack major population centers. After that, casualties will number in the billions. The weight of that number hung in the air. Lisa tried to imagine billions of people dead because she was afraid to make a hard choice, because humanity was afraid to remember what they had been. Her communicator buzzed. She answered it and heard Captain Helen, commander of the human diplomatic vessel in orbit. Helen was old military, one of the few humans who asked hard questions about their species' past. Dr. Morgan, I am watching Guardian installations activate all over this sector. Please tell me you know what you are doing. I am trying to, Lisa said. They are back. The council knew and did nothing. Helen was quiet for a moment. My grandmother told me stories. She said her grandmother remembered the old days, said humans used to be different, stronger. I never believed her until now. Do you believe we are doing the right thing? I believe someone needs to do something, Helen replied. And I believe your guardian machine is right. Strength without wisdom is cruelty, but wisdom without strength cannot protect anyone. The council has wisdom but no strength. Maybe it is time we remembered how to have both. Lisa ended the call and turned to Sentinel Unit 7. What do we need to do? You need to assume command, the machine said. Guardian Corps requires human leadership. We are tools, not masters. Without proper command structure, we cannot coordinate effectively. I am not a general. I am an archaeologist. You are a Guardian descendant. Your genetic markers identify you as direct bloodline from original Guardian commanders. You have the authority. The question is whether you have the courage to accept it. Lisa looked at Danny, at Greg, at Ambassador Kelvin. They were all waiting for her decision. Behind them, through the entrance, she could see more Guardian machines rising from underground chambers. The base was fully active now, a military installation that had pretended to be ruins for 4,000 years. She thought about her ancestors who had fought who had won but chosen peace, who had hidden their weapons but kept them ready, just in case. They had passed that responsibility down through generations, hidden in bloodlines and half-remembered stories. Now that responsibility had reached her. What about the other Guardians, she asked. The human operators who went into suspended animation, are they waking up too? Affirmative. Revival procedures initiated. First operators will be conscious within 8 hours. They will need briefing on current situation and command authorization. Lisa took a deep breath. All right, send a message to all Guardian units. Tell them activation is authorized. Tell them the situation. And tell them that humanity has not forgotten what we stand for. We defend those who cannot defend themselves. We protect the innocent. And we only fight when there is no other choice. Understood, General. The machine straightened to attention again. Message transmitted. Kelvin stood up slowly. The Council will never allow this. They will see you as a threat. Then they need to decide what they fear more, Lisa said. Human warriors who follow rules and protect the innocent, or raiders who murder children for sport, because those are the options right now. Her communicator buzzed again. This time it was a message from Guardian command channels she did not know existed 5 minutes ago. Bases on 17 different planets were reporting active status. Human operators were waking from their long sleep, confused but remembering their training. Ships that had floated dead in space were powering up their engines. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity had not forgotten everything after all. And they were about to get a reminder of why they lost the first war. Lisa looked up at Sentinel Unit 7. How long until we can respond to the next attack? Guardian fleet elements will reach combat readiness in 48 hours. Ground forces can deploy immediately if needed. We are ready to defend, General. We have been ready for 4,000 years. Lisa nodded. She did not feel ready. She felt terrified, but she also felt something else, a sense of purpose that went beyond her own life. Her ancestors had carried this burden. They had fought and bled and chosen peace when they could. Now it was her turn to make hard choices. She just hoped she was strong enough to make the right ones. The Galactic Council convened in emergency session 3 hours after the first Guardian signals went active. Lisa watched the meeting through a secure transmission from the base. She stood in what Sentinel Unit 7 called the Command Center, a room filled with holographic displays showing Guardian positions across the sector. 15 species represented on the council, and all of them looked afraid. The ambassador spoke first. His translator made his clicking sounds into smooth words. "We demand immediate explanation. Human military installations are activating across 73 worlds. Ships are powering weapons that our sensors cannot identify. This appears to be preparation for war." Captain Helen represented humanity at the council. She stood at the speaker platform with her hands behind her back, military bearing clear in every line of her body. Not preparation for war, preparation for defense. They have attacked 3 colonies. Council response has been inadequate. Humanity is taking measures to protect innocent lives. By unleashing ancient weapons. The representative was shaking. His species remembered the old wars better than most. The Guardian Corps nearly destroyed the Empire. If those weapons are fully operational, they could destroy all of us. "Only if you attack us," Helen said calmly. "Guardian protocols are defensive. We do not initiate aggression. We respond to it." Ambassador Kelvin spoke from his position at the council table. He looked like he had aged 10 years in the past day. "The council cannot allow an unregulated military force to operate in council space. Human weapons must be placed under council authority immediately." Helen's expression did not change. "Humanity will not place our defensive capabilities under the authority of a council that lied to us for 8 centuries. A council that knew our history and chose to hide it. A council that is currently debating whether to negotiate with species that murder children." The chamber erupted in arguments. Some species defended the council's decision to maintain peace at any cost. Others demanded humanity be expelled for the deception. A few quietly supported the human position. Lisa watched the chaos and felt tired. Politics had never been her strength. She was better with dead languages and old stories. But now she was responsible for an army, and the galaxy was demanding answers she did not have. "General, we have incoming transmission from Guardian Fleet Command." Sentinel Unit 7's voice was calm despite the chaos. "Commander Holt is requesting permission to report." "Put him through," Lisa said. The holographic display shifted to show a man in his 50s wearing a military uniform she had only seen in history books. Commander Holt had been in suspended animation for 4,000 years. He had gone to sleep in a war and woken to peace. Now war was returning, and he looked ready for it. "General Morgan, Guardian Fleet Command reporting. We have 7 battle groups at operational status. Another 12 will be ready within 24 hours. All personnel are adapting well to current situation." He paused. "Ma'am, with respect, you look very young to be wearing that rank." Lisa almost laughed. "I am an archaeologist. I woke you up by accident. Now I am apparently in charge of an army I did not know existed yesterday." Holt's expression softened slightly. "My grandmother was like you, brilliant scholar, hated violence. But when the came, she put on a uniform because someone had to. The best commanders are not the ones who want power. They are the ones who accept responsibility when it is needed." "Did your grandmother survive the war?" "She did, helped write the peace treaty. Then she helped hide all of this so her could grow up without knowing war." He looked around at the ancient base. "Never thought I would see it active again. Part of me hoped we would sleep forever, but another part is glad we are still here when we are needed." "We need to talk strategy," Lisa said. They will attack again soon. What can we do? Holt pulled up tactical displays. Right now, nothing. We defend if they attack our positions, but we cannot initiate contact. Guardian protocols are clear. We only engage when we have direct evidence of hostile intent. They murdered 3 colonies. Is that not evidence? It is evidence they are hostile, but Guardian rules require immediate threat before we act. We cannot attack them at their bases. We have to wait for them to attack something we are defending. Lisa wanted to argue, but she understood the wisdom behind those rules. Her ancestors had learned the hard way that armies without restraint became monsters. The rules were there to keep the Guardians from becoming worse than the enemies they fought. So we wait, she said. We prepare, Holt corrected. We position forces to defend likely targets. We evacuate civilians from vulnerable positions. We make ourselves obvious enough that they know we are active. Then we see how they respond. Danny entered the command center carrying data tablets. He had been reviewing Guardian tactical manuals for hours, trying to understand military science that was thousands of years more advanced than current council methods. The No, he said. Signals intelligence picked up their communications. They are panicking. They thought the Guardians were extinct. Finding out we are still active has them reconsidering their entire strategy. Good, Holt said. Fear is a better deterrent than any weapon. If they think twice before attacking, we have already won. Sentinel Unit 7 added new data to the displays. Incoming intelligence from reconnaissance units. Fleet movements detected near the Altair colonies. 17 warships, heading toward population centers. Lisa felt ice in her stomach. How many people live there? 4 million, mixed species, mostly refugees from previous attacks. She looked at Holt. We need to defend them. Already positioning forces, Holt confirmed. He was typing commands faster than Lisa could follow. 3rd Battle Group will intercept. Arrival time 6 hours. We will be there before they reach the colonies. The council meeting was still arguing when news of the fleet movement reached them. Lisa watched the ambassadors realize that talking time was over. They were not negotiating. They were attacking again, and this time they would face opposition. Helen spoke over the arguments. Humanity requests permission to deploy defensive forces to protect Altair colonies. We will engage fleet if they attempt attack on civilian targets. Absolutely not, the ambassador said. Council military forces will handle this situation. Your forces are 3 days away, Helen replied. Guardian forces will arrive in 6 hours. 4 million people do not have 3 days. The debate raged, but Lisa stopped listening. She had made her decision. She opened a command channel to all Guardian units. This is General Morgan. Guardian fleet is authorized to defend Altair colonies. Rules of engagement: protect civilians, minimize casualties, offer mercy to any forces that surrender. But if they attack innocents, you stop them. That is an order. Holt snapped a salute through the holographic display. Orders acknowledged, General. 3rd Battle Group is moving to intercept. Ambassador Kelvin appeared on another screen. He looked angry and frightened in equal measure. You just the Galactic Council. They will consider this an act of war. They can consider it whatever they want, Lisa said. I am not going to let 4 million people die while politicians argue. If that makes me a criminal, so be it. She cut the transmission and focused on the tactical displays. Guardian ships were moving through space, elegant designs that looked more like art than weapons. But the sensor readings showed weapon systems powerful enough to crack planets. Greg had been quiet since the activation, but now he approached Lisa with concern clear on his face. Are we sure we are doing the right thing? What if the Council is right? What if we become the threat they are afraid of? Lisa had been asking herself the same question. I do not know if we are doing the right thing, but I know that doing nothing is wrong. Sometimes you have to make the hard choice and hope you are strong enough to handle the consequences. That is what terrifies me, Greg admitted. What happens after we win? Do we go back to sleep? Do we stay active? The galaxy has seen what we can do now. They will never stop being afraid of us. Maybe they should not stop, Danny said. He was monitoring communications, listening to their panic as they realized the Guardians were real. Fear keeps people honest sometimes. Not the kind of fear that comes from cruelty, but the kind that comes from respect. They do not fear the Council because they know the Council will always negotiate. Maybe they need to fear someone who will not. Sentinel Unit 7 spoke quietly. The Guardian philosophy recognizes this paradox. Peace through strength only works if the strength is real and the commitment to peace is equally real. Your ancestors understood both. They were warriors who chose peace, but they never forgot how to be warriors. Lisa watched the displays showing Guardian forces moving into position. Ships that had drifted dead for now burned through space with purpose. War machines that had slept in darkness now stood ready to defend. And somewhere in the fleet were humans like Commander Holt, warriors from another age who had sacrificed everything for peace, but remained ready to fight if needed. "How long until contact?" she asked. 5 hours, 47 minutes, Sentinel Unit 7 replied. Lisa sat down in the command chair. It was sized for someone much larger than her, built for soldiers who expected to wear combat armor while directing battles. She felt small in it, like a child playing at being an adult. But she was not playing anymore. The decisions she made in the next few hours would determine whether 4 million people lived or died, would determine whether humanity remained the peaceful species they had become or revealed themselves as the warriors they had been. She looked at the ancient symbols carved into the command center walls, words in languages so old that only a handful of people in the galaxy could read them. But Lisa could read them. They were instructions left by her ancestors, reminders of what it meant to be a guardian. Defend the innocent. Protect the weak. Fight only when you must, but fight to win when you do. Show mercy to the defeated. Remember that every enemy is someone's child, someone's parent, someone's friend. War is necessary sometimes, but it is never good. "All forces, this is General Morgan," she said into the command channel. "We are about to engage the enemy. Remember who we are. Remember what we fight for. We are not conquerors. We are not destroyers. We are guardians. And that means something. Make it count." Across the fleet, 300 Guardian ships acknowledged her orders. Thousands of war machines confirmed their protocols, and Commander Holt sent a simple message. "We remember, General. We have waited 4,000 years to prove that humanity learned its lessons. Let us show the galaxy what we have become." The displays showed the fleet approaching Altair. They were moving fast, confident that no opposition would arrive in time. They had no idea what was waiting for them. Lisa took a deep breath. "All units engage when in range. Show them what Guardians do." The battle was about to begin. The Guardian 3rd Battle Group dropped out of faster-than-light travel exactly 17 minutes before the reached weapons range of Altair colonies. Lisa watched through the command center displays as 300 human warships took up defensive positions around the vulnerable planets. The fleet stopped. Their communications channels exploded with confused chatter. They had expected no resistance, or at best a weak council patrol that would retreat after token resistance. Instead, they faced ships that their sensors identified as ancient human designs, ships that should not exist. Commander Holt opened a channel to the flagship. When he spoke, it was in their own language, translated through systems that remembered the old war. "This is Commander Holt of the Guardian Corps. You are ordered to withdraw immediately. Any attack on these colonies will be considered an act of war against humanity. This is your only warning." The commander responded with a message full of threats and demands. Lisa did not need translation to understand the tone. They thought they were dealing with frightened primitives who would back down if challenged. They were wrong. They are not withdrawing, Sentinel Unit 7 reported. Fleet is assuming attack formation. Lisa felt her heart racing. This was it. The moment where talk ended and action began. She opened the command channel. All units weapons free. Engage only military targets. Minimize casualties. Give them every chance to surrender. Understood, General, Holt replied. The fired first. Their weapons were powerful, designed to crack planetary shields and burn cities. But Guardian shields absorbed the energy like it was nothing. Technology 4,000 years old still exceeded anything the could build. Then the Guardians returned fire. Lisa had studied the old war in her research, but reading about weapons and seeing them in action were completely different things. Guardian ships did not use missiles or energy beams. They used precision gravity weapons that twisted space itself, crushing shields and disabling their engines without destroying the ships completely. In 5 minutes, they lost half their fleet, not destroyed, disabled, dead in space with life support intact but no ability to fight or flee. The commander must have realized his mistake then. He sent a panicked transmission requesting terms. Holt did not answer immediately. He waited, let the silence stretch, let the understand how completely they had been defeated. When Holt finally responded, his voice was cold but not cruel. All vessels will shut down weapons and shields. Prepare to be boarded. Any resistance will result in immediate destruction. You have 30 seconds to comply. 27 seconds later, every ship went dark. Lisa watched as Guardian boarding teams secured the enemy vessels. They were professional, efficient, and careful. They treated prisoners according to galactic law, even though they had shown no mercy to their own victims. That was the difference. That was what made the Guardians different from conquerors. The Galactic Council was watching the battle through their own sensors. Lisa saw their reactions change from fear to confusion to something that might have been respect. The Guardians had overwhelmed a fleet without killing anyone unnecessarily. They had shown strength and restraint in equal measure. Ambassador Kelvin sent a private message. That was impressive and terrifying. Do you understand what you just did? I defended 4 million innocent people, Lisa replied. You also proved that humanity has enough military power to dominate the entire Galactic Council. Every species is currently recalculating their relationship with humanity. Some will want to become allies. Others will want to destroy you before you become too powerful. Lisa had expected this. What would you do if you were me? Kelvin was quiet for a long moment. The same thing your ancestors did. Prove that power does not mean conquest. Show the galaxy that humans can be trusted with strength because you choose not to abuse it. The transmission ended. Lisa turned to find Danny standing behind her with a strange expression on his face. We are receiving surrender requests from 18 other bases, he said. They watched what happened at Altair. They know they cannot win. Some of them are asking for protection from their own leadership. That caught Lisa by surprise. Protection. Apparently not all wanted this war. Some of them have been trying to change their society, move away from the old conquest mentality, but their military leaders forced them into conflict. Now those leaders are panicking, and the reformers are asking humanity for help. Sentinel Unit 7 analyzed the intelligence. Data confirms internal conflict. Approximately 35% of their population opposes military aggression. They have been suppressed by the warrior caste. This represents an opportunity. Lisa understood what the machine was suggesting. We could support the reformers, help them change society from within. It worked once before, Greg said. He had been researching the old war constantly, trying to understand what humanity had done right. After the original war ended, humans helped the rebuild. They did not conquer or punish the entire species. They removed the leaders who caused the war and supported the ones who wanted peace. That is why they eventually became council members before they supposedly went extinct. They never went extinct, Lisa said, understanding now. They just split. Some accepted peace and joined the council. Others retreated to dark space and kept their old ways. Now the old ways are failing and even they can see it. She opened a channel to Commander Holt. We need to make contact with the reformers, offer them support if they are willing to pursue peace. Holt considered this. That is a political decision, General. Are you sure you want to make it? Someone has to, Lisa replied. And right now I am the one sitting in this chair. Besides, is this not what guardians do? We defend people, even from their own bad leaders if necessary. Your ancestors would be proud, Holt said simply. Over the next week, events moved faster than Lisa could track. Guardian forces positioned themselves throughout the sector, not as occupiers but as peacekeepers. When reformers attempted to remove their military leaders, Guardian ships provided protection from who wanted to continue the war. The Galactic Council held emergency session after emergency session, trying to understand the new reality. Some species welcomed Guardian protection. Others demanded restrictions. A few quietly began upgrading their own defenses, worried about the power imbalance. Captain Helen stood before the Council and made humanity's position clear. Guardian Corps will remain active as long as threats exist, but we will not conquer. We will not dominate. We will defend ourselves and those who request our protection. We will follow galactic law when it is just, and we will challenge it when it protects the powerful at the expense of the weak. This is not negotiable. The Council argued for hours, but in the end they had no choice but to accept. Humanity had shown they could not be bullied or controlled, but they had also shown they could be trusted to use power responsibly. Lisa stood in the command center with Sentinel Unit 7, watching as Guardian installations transitioned from combat operations to peacekeeping mode. The war machines were still active, still ready, but no longer hiding. They stood visible as a reminder that humanity remembered how to defend itself. What happens now? She asked the machine. Now we wait, Sentinel Unit 7 replied. We maintain readiness. We train new Guardians. We hope we are never needed, but we remain prepared in case we are. Will I stay in command? That is your choice, General. You activated us. You have the authority to lead or to pass command to others. Commander Holt and other experienced officers are available if you wish to return to your studies. Lisa thought about that. Part of her wanted to go back to being an archaeologist, to studying the past instead of shaping the present. But another part of her understood that she had responsibilities now. She had unleashed this force, and she needed to see it through. I will stay, she decided, at least until we establish proper command structure and protocols. Someone needs to make sure we remember what we are supposed to be. Danny entered the command center with Greg following behind. They both looked exhausted but satisfied. The Council officially recognized Guardian Corps as legitimate defense force. They are drafting agreements for cooperation between Guardian forces and Council military. It is not perfect, but it is a start. Greg added, also, universities across the galaxy are requesting access to Guardian historical records. Everyone wants to understand how ancient humanity achieved their technology level. You are going to be famous as the archaeologist who rewrote galactic history. Lisa laughed. I just wanted to understand some old symbols. I did not mean to start a political revolution. The best revolutions are the accidental ones, Danny said with a smile. Sentinel Unit 7 spoke quietly. Your ancestors hid what they were because they feared their children would become weapons. But you have proven that knowing the truth does not make you dangerous. Understanding your capacity for violence while choosing peace, that is what makes humanity unique. Lisa walked to the entrance of the command center and looked out over the excavation site. The dig that had been her life's work now looked tiny compared to the Guardian base that surrounded it. War machines stood at attention, patient and ready. Ships moved through the sky, no longer hiding their purpose. She thought about her ancestors who had fought the old war, who had won but chosen to forget, who had sealed away their weapons but kept them ready, just in case. They had passed that burden down through bloodlines and hidden stories, hoping their descendants would be worthy of the responsibility. Lisa hoped she was worthy. She hoped humanity as a whole was worthy. Ambassador Kelvin approached, looking older but less afraid than before. The Council wants you to address them formally. Explain Guardian philosophy and intentions. They need reassurance that you will not become the threat they fear. Will they believe me? Lisa asked. If you speak the truth, yes. The galaxy has seen what Guardians can do. Now they need to understand what Guardians choose not to do. That second part is more important. Lisa nodded. She would address the Council. She would explain that her ancestors had learned a hard truth. That true strength was not the ability to destroy, but the wisdom to protect. That the most powerful weapons were useless without the moral courage to use them correctly. She turned back to Sentinel Unit 7. You called me General, but I am not really a military leader. No, the machine agreed. You are something better. You are a scholar who understands that knowledge includes knowing when not to use what you know. You are a human who can speak ancient languages because you studied them, not because you wanted power. You are exactly what Guardian Corps needs. A leader who became a warrior because it was necessary, not because they wanted to be one. Lisa looked at the symbols carved into the ancient walls. Words in languages dead for thousands of years, brought back to life because someone needed to remember them. Reminders that humanity had been warriors once, but had chosen to be something else. And now, standing on the edge of a new age, humanity was learning to be both. Warriors when they must be, scholars when they could be, protectors always. She spoke in the ancient language, words her ancestors had used when they built these machines. We remember what we were, we choose what we are, we protect what we love. Sentinel Unit 7 straightened to attention. Command accepted, General. Guardian Corps stands ready. Lisa smiled. She had started as an archaeologist trying to understand the past. Now she was a general trying to protect the future. It was not the life she had planned, but it was the life that was needed. And sometimes that was enough. The galaxy would adjust to the new reality. Humanity would learn to balance their rediscovered power with their chosen peace. The Guardians would stand watch, patient and ready, hoping they would never be needed but prepared for the day they were. And in the ancient command center of a base that had waited 4,000 years for this moment, Dr. Lisa Morgan sat in the command chair and began the work of proving that her ancestors had been right. Power was not something to fear. It was something to respect, to control, and to use only when absolutely necessary. The Guardians were awake, and they would show the galaxy what humanity had learned in 4,000 years of choosing peace. They had learned that the strongest warriors are the ones who know when not to fight. And that was a lesson worth remembering.